In this slideshow, we're going to discuss professionalism and civility in the lab. So professionalism is completing a task with the knowledge or skill of a professional. We do not think that any of you are professional chemists. That would be an unreasonable expectation of Gen Chem 2 students in college, right? But you can act in a professional manner. So in chemistry lab, this means having knowledge of the experiment and preparedness in order to complete the experiment in a safe, timely, and effective manner. If you show up and you are prepared, that is a professional act. If you show up and you haven't read the experiment, you have no idea what you're doing, maybe you skimmed it real fast, that is not professional, and your IA can and should take points off of your lab report for showing up unprepared. Also, professionalism includes treating your fellow lab mates, your IA, the stockroom employees, and other university employees with respect and patience. Oftentimes we end up with students who are just really worked up because lab can be stressful, right? It's a really short time period in which to finish a task that can be challenging. And sometimes things go wrong in lab and you get frustrated, or maybe you had a really bad day and then you still had to come to lab, at 6 p.m. and stick it out until 9 o'clock or whatever. Don't let your bad day out on your IA or on your fellow lab mates. It's not their fault. So, treat them with respect and patience. They are doing the best they can, just like you are doing the best you can. Clean up after yourself in the lab. This goes along with the respect thing. You can kind of think of your IA and the stockroom employees and university employees. Think of us like if you've ever been in the service industry and you've been like a waitress or a bartender or something, you know that sometimes your customers can just be awful to you for seemingly no reason, right? When you are doing the best you can and maybe the thing that's annoying them is even out of your control. That seems to happen a lot to RIAs and our stockroom employees and everything. Clean up after yourself in the lab. If you make a mess, this is not a restaurant. You need to be cleaning up after yourself. And if you make a mess and your experiment doesn't work, you shouldn't take it out on somebody else. A kind of golden rule to professionalism is that anything you do should not create more work for another person. So if you are unable to act with professionalism in lab, your IA will take away from the 10 points which are marked as professionalism. This can be arriving late to lab, refusing to end your experiment on time, failure to clean up your space, a bad or hostile attitude, a lack of preparedness, and anything related to safety, removing your goggles during lab, not disposing of your waste properly, failure to close the waste container, or leaving other reagents open, walking out to the hallway with your gloves on. Your IA can take away 10 points, and if the behavior is particularly egregious, they are actually allowed to take away more. The last thing that I want to discuss with you is civility. And I kind of already touched on this, but I think it's especially important this semester because everybody is under a lot more stress, right? So we've all been trapped inside our houses. Students, you're taking a lot of classes online, and that's really hard. So are your IAs. And your IAs are also teaching your in-person lab and also dealing with the other half of their students, which are currently taking an online lab. And then your faculty members are trying to take their courses that they've worked hard on over the past several years and move them online. And that doesn't seem too crazy, but as a faculty member who is doing it and trying to do it well, I can tell you it doubled, sometimes tripled the amount of work that I have to put into everything. So everybody involved is tired and stressed. So try and keep that in mind when you show up to lab. Don't let your bad day out on somebody else, and try to be compassionate and recognize that other people are also going through things right now. This is a totally new course structure. We have not done this ABC groups before. We've not had to mix in person and online before. So Dr. Weber and I have spent a lot of time planning this course, and we're really confident that we've done the best that we can to give you a good experience this semester. But sometimes the course might be a little messy, and we promise we are going to fix it. We are not going to leave the course in a messy state, but have patience with us because this is something new to us. We're also teaching our lectures, and so we are constantly working these days, and we are exhausted. We haven't had a break since January. So please keep that in mind. Please bear with your IAs. I already mentioned this, but they are working with 2 different groups of students each week doing 2 different experiments, right? The in-person and the online. Being an IA is already a pretty challenging position. This semester is even harder. And then finally, please bear with us being the coordinators. Again, our workload has just grown massively. We're doing everything as quickly as we can, while also trying to make sure that everything that we create is of high quality. We want to make sure that we're putting out resources and assignments that are useful to you. We don't want to waste your time with poorly thought out assignments. We don't want to, have you read through a resource that's not going to do anything for you. So please be patient with us. And in return, we will be patient with you.